Hey basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Basketball Coach Allen, and today I'm going to talk to you about some high 1-4 screen and roll basketball plays that you can run with your team. Now some of these plays may be more advanced while others are going to be very simple, so stay tuned for the whole video and use what you can for your basketball team. Let's get down to the clipboard and let's check out these basketball plays. Really quickly, hit that like button and subscribe if you like basketball plays, drills, and skills, because I post videos twice per day. Also, go check out my Unbeatable basketball defense book in the description below. Okay, so in this first basketball play, what we're going to be having is player 4 setting a screen out for player 2 and player 5 setting a screen for player 3. What we're going to have here is player 3, he is going to be going and setting a screen for player 1, and we're going to be having player 5 roll towards the basket. This way, if player 5 hedges and player 5 rolls, when player 1 uses that screen, he might get a quick pass down to player 5 for a layup, but we are looking for the 3-point shot as well. Now, if that's not open, after this screen, we're going to be having player 3 roll and player 5 is going to be popping out. Now you're probably wondering what's happening over on the other side. Well, at the same time, we're going to be having player 2 pop up. He is going to be our safety. So once player 5 gets out of the way, we're now having player 3 roll towards the basket if he's covered, and if player 1 is also covered, we now have player 2 popping. So we have our first option. We also have our second option being a 3-point shot. But we also have a backup option, which is player 2 for the 3-point shot for himself. Now that play is best against a man-to-man defense, as I showed you right there. It's not going to work very great against a zone defense, so keep that in mind. This next basketball play is going to be on the easier side, and we're going to be doing more advanced afterwards. Let's get back down to the clipboard. Let's check out this simple 1-4 basketball play. Now this one is again really good against a man-to-man defense. We're going to be having players 2 and 3. They're going to be leaking down towards those corners. Meanwhile, we're going to be having player 5 and player 4 set a screen, what I like to call a sandwich screen, on player 1. So those players are going to be popping down, and these players are going to be popping up for that screen. Next, player 1 is going to make the decision. Let's say, for example, he goes right. I want to see player 5 rolling towards the basket, because now that's going to do one of two things. For one, we may have a 3-point shot from player 1. That is an option. We do have player 4 popping out towards the point. And if we get the ball down to player 5, if he was open, if his man decided to hedge and not cover the roll, then that might bring player 2 down for a kick-out pass to player 2. That is another option. However, what we're looking to do here, let's say everything is covered, what I want to see happen is player 5 to continue through, and now I want to see a back screen on player 3 and player 3 blue cutting down the middle of the key. Now, I want him to be not cutting towards the high post because it's going to be covered by player 4, and I do not want to see him going low along the baseline or close, using the screen closely, because the player 5 defender is going to be able to defend player 3. I want him to be loosely going roughly between the free throw line and that second, or technically first, hash mark, because this would be the block here. So in between those hash marks, and he should be open. Now, what I want to see happen here is player 5, after that screen, is to then seal his man, because what's going to happen is most likely player 5 is going to pop out. If player 3 is able to go in for that shot and that layup, go for it. If he can't and player 5 popped out to defend, he can now just bounce pass down to player 5, and player 5 can hit a floater or a close shot. Another option that might happen is player 2 might come down to play help defense to stop that from happening, in which case player 2 could be open. Or if player 3 got the ball, he could kick it out to player 2 to be open for the shot. Or player 2 could also be cutting baseline for the layup, one or the other. There's multiple different options with this play, and it's still a fairly simple play to run. Now this next play is against a 3-2 zone defense, but this also does work really well against a 2-3 zone and a 2-1-2 zone as well. So what we're going to be having here is player 5 setting a screen on player 2, and same as player 4 setting a screen on player 3. Player 1 is going to decide where to go, right or left. If he decides to go right, obviously player 2 is going to be following him, player 1 is going to be following him, and player 2 is going to be popping down towards this corner. Now this could be a skip pass over to player 2, in which case we really want to make that pass. And there's a really good reason for that. The reason is now that's going to be most likely pulling player 5 red out to defend player 2 because of this really strong screen. In which case, now we have player 5 rolling towards the basket after that screen. So what I really want to see happen is player 1 passing the ball when player 2 is cutting towards that spot. This way, once player 2 receives that pass, we have player 5 rolling. He can hit player 5 for that layup. Or if there's a defender, he can kick out to player 3, who is now open because of that screen, for the 3-point shot. Player 3 could have also been cutting baseline for there to be a nice easy basket there as well. This one's a little bit more advanced because obviously we're going up against a zone defense, but works extremely well against a 3-2 and works fairly well as also against a 2-1-2 and a 2-3. Now really quickly, against the 2-3 zone, it's by running a high 1-4, you are pulling up again or away from the baseline. So I'm going to show you the same play what we just ran. So we're going to be having player 1 dribble over towards this right side, and player 2 is going to be in single coverage. That's going to be bringing player 4 out farther to stop the swing to player 2, but also to force the trap along the sideline. Player 5 is going to be moving over, and same as player 3. I want to see player 5 set that screen on player 4, player 2 to use that and to do that skip pass over to player 2. Now that's going to be bringing player 5 down. I want to see player 2 drive towards the rim and player 5 go towards the high post. Meanwhile, player 4 would have already been out of the way and towards the 3-point line. Now, what I want to see happen is player 2 pass to player 5 in the high post, because after that roll, that's roughly where he's going to be, and he could hit a quick shot from there. If this collapses one or both of those players, we now have backdoor options if we're reading the defense properly and allowing player 3 to get open along the baseline for a nice open layup. Now just a quick 2-second play that you can run at the end of a game, and that is having player 4 set a screen on player 3 and player 5 to set a screen on player 1. At this point, player 2 is going to be moving down, and we're going to be having player 3 cut across the key, player 1 using that screen, and we have two options. Player 1 taking that 3-point shot or mid-range shot, or hitting up player 3 for a layup. This is kind of like one of those last second plays that you could run that take 2 seconds to run and can get you a couple of nice options. I hope that these basketball plays can help your team win more games. If they do, let us know in the comment section below. Go check out the Unbeatable basketball defense. It's really great. There's a double team from the free throw line and below. Lots of coaches have been raving about this to me as well, so definitely go check it out. It is a book that I wrote, so I hope that you enjoy. And I'll see you guys again later on today for the second video of the day.